Okay, Matt Roscoe here at the University of Montana. Let's continue our lesson on using GeoGebra for statistical analysis by just doing a short lesson on how to run univariate analysis of data. And so what I mean by univariate is analysis on just one stream of data. Something like, say we were curious to know what the average, I guess how prices of the top 30 cars vary. So what we would do in that case to answer that question would be to highlight the column of the variable that we're interested in analyzing, so Msrp, manufacturer suggested retail price. And then over here we have a series of tools, and the pointer tool is just a way to point where you want to be. But under this we have, and each one of these little downward arrows is a drop-down menu. We can see that we have available one variable analysis, two variable analysis, multiple variable analysis, and probability calculators. So the one that I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of is the one variable analysis on Msrp. So I can go ahead and hit analyze there, and what it does is give me a box, a pop-up screen box that shows the histogram, for example, of the prices of cars that are in the data set. I can also take a look at this as a bar chart. Of course, the bar chart's not very nice because there aren't multiple repeated values. But a box plot would be familiar to many middle school teachers. This is an object that we teach in middle school. So a visual display of the median here in the middle, the minimum, the maximum, and then the two quartiles. We can also get a dot plot, although again the dot plot is not very informative here because of the fact that each one of the prices are unique numbers. None of the prices are repeated, but perhaps for a different. And then you can also do stem and leaf plots to get a sense of what the prices are in the data set too here. Thousands of dollars on the left-hand side of the stem. So most cars, I guess the category seems to be 22,000 cars seem to be the most common category. I'll leave it at the histogram. One of the things that's neat about the histogram is you have the ability to control the widths of the classes. So each one of these classes can be controlled just using that slider. Now the last thing that you're probably curious about is, well, what about the numerical summary? So here you can look at show statistics, which is, I guess, the sigma X there up on top, and here are the statistics for the data itself. It says that there are 30, I guess, data points. Here's our mean. So the mean price of a car in the data set is about $22,500 Msrp. We have two different standard deviations, one for the population and one for the sample. So those are kind of advanced statistics out of the middle school domain. But certainly in the middle school domain is the median, so the middle number in the data set is 22,410. I guess that would actually be the mean of the two middle numbers here, since there are 30 data sets, or 30 data points. So if I found the 15th and 16th data point, if they were in order, I guess if we put the data in order, then this is the number that is halfway between the 15th and the 16th data point. And then the minimum and maximum prices, as well as the quartiles. So these five numbers are often called the five-number summary, and they are the spots that split the data up into quarters. So that's a brief, I guess, overview of how you can do univariate data analysis. You know, another thing that is kind of interesting in this case is sometimes you want to compare to data sets in a univariate sense to know, well, how much higher on average is fuel efficiency on highway compared to the fuel efficiency in the city. So multiple variable analysis is one way to do this sort of task. It's asking, do I want to do those two columns? Yes, those are the ones I picked. And so now you can take a look at you know, how fuel efficiency is different, for example, on the highway as compared to the city for these 30 cars. And of course, what we see is that highway fuel efficiencies, when we look at this as a stacked box plot, are quite a bit higher, as we would expect, than city fuel efficiencies. But one of the things I find really interesting is that highway fuel efficiency, the variability in that data, so this column E is much higher and the variability in the city driving fuel efficiency. There is one outlier marked here, and I believe that's the Prius. And down here we can see the statistics for each of the columns. It turns out the median, I guess, highway fuel efficiency is about 32.5, whereas the median city fuel efficiency is about 23. Similar values for the mean here. So kind of interesting. You can do stacked box plots as that's your only option when you have two variables that you're interested in. Okay, so that's how you can run simple univariate and compare univariate summary statistics for a variable in GeoGebra.